Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the We Don't Know Jack podcast. I'm here today. I'm your host, Jack. Emily's here.
Still here.
We're missing Ben. I don't know where he went, but he's not here.
He left.
Casey's not here today either, but we got a huge guest today, the biggest guest we've ever had on this show. You know her from the host of Monday Night Metal on KSHE, and she's the girl from the Rizzuto Show. It's Lern. Lern, how you doing today?
Hey, guys. I'm really good. Good to be back with you, Jack.
We're really excited to talk to you again. Thank you for doing this again.
You're welcome.
Emily she found out about my old podcast through your interview last time. We had no idea.
Right on. And did you listen to it?
Yeah, I think that was the only episode I listened to.
Because I didn't know her before that.
He found me in a basement.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably explained that one.
So you guys became friends and started a podcast together based on you hearing me on his old podcast?
Pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
That's how she knew who I was.
I love that. That makes me so happy. I think that's cool as hell.
It is really cool. And I'm glad that we were able to get to that from this. But I had no idea who she was. And then she found my podcast and she was doing radio one night down here at the Lindenwood station. And we started a podcast from that.
That's the best types of friendships. Whenever I was at Illinois State, I worked at the campus radio station there. And I still am in touch with most of my friends that I met through the radio station. So I'm glad that is still a thing that people can meet that maybe you wouldn't have met otherwise.
There's
That's awesome.
4 or 5 people I've met just sitting down here that I'd say I'm pretty good friends with still. Even though it's summertime, we still talk and everything.
That's actually how I met most of the people in my major.
It's just
down here.
Down here in the radio station.
And through you, too.
Yeah,
because you're a year older than me.
You've been here longer than I have, though.
You transferred.
That's true.
I'm stuck here. I can't leave.
That's true. So since you said that, you went from KSHE to the point you started doing mornings again. Tell us a little bit about that journey and how it changed everything.
Yes. I mean, it changes everything. So I guess the biggest takeaway that I found with my move from mornings on KSHE to mornings on the point was every host is different. So John Hewlett preps his work and his show a different way than Scott Rizzuto does. And that to me was kind of the most interesting thing because I like to study people and I kind of observed how everybody on John's show and on the Riz show, I've studied how they work and what their process is. And, Riz gets here at like 3:30 in the morning, whereas U-Man gets here at like 5:30. And so 2 just completely different types of people with their own schedule of prep, So that to me was the biggest takeaway. But both experiences for me that I found is I'm allowed to be myself. Nobody's making me be anything other than myself. Like, John was very complimentary to me with my sense of humor and with like our interests and whatever. And then it's fun to get to know Riz and Moon and King Scott and Rafe because even though we're all very different, we have things that connect us. Like even today on the show, Riz was saying that he and I have very similar music tastes. And I was like, yeah, that's actually very accurate. And then, like Moon and I think we share a real ground, like a real gravity to kind of the hippy dippy stuff. I think that he's into that. King Scott and I mean, even though I'm agnostic and he's very Christian, we find a way to connect through the talking of faith and the universe and whatever. And then Rafe and I, as we've gotten to know each other in this last year, he and I are very similar. We came from similar backgrounds, similar geography, similar being raised the same. Like, he's got a quick wit, which I think I also have. So I think that's kind of kept us in sync too. So yeah, I feel like you connect to your co-hosts in different ways, but at the very shell of a show, you have to be able to connect with who you're hosting with. That chemistry has to be there, and it's something that develops through time and gets more refined. But it's definitely something that I feel every show has in its different way.
I feel like you and Rafe had immediate chemistry. You guys got along right off the bat. Because when they were doing the fill-ins, it was you and Rafe and Liv and Mike Leahy. And it was never really switched around.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've known Mike Leahy for 20 years, and I used to go see his band, the Seven Shot Screamers, when I was in high school and college. I used to go to like the Creepy Crawl and go see them. They were this rockabilly band, and it was so cool. Yeah, so it was funny to get to know Mike on the radio in the way that he was, and Liv, she's from Maine, and so I've only known her for a couple of years, and we only knew each other kind of cordially, like we didn't know too much about each other. But yeah, Rafe and I feel like we, right off the bat, just kind of spoke the same language, if that's the easiest way to put it. Like,
both from Southern Illinois.
He got my joke. Yeah, the Southern Illinois connection, and I think that there's, where you're raised is part of your fabric, your personal fabric, right? So when you come from a little small town where there's a lot of poverty or a lot of, whiteness or Hoosierific experience, like you just kind of understand the little town mentality. And so it was nice to be kind of understood. I think he would say the same thing. And he's just got such a great heart, and he cares about the right stuff, in my opinion. So I really enjoy just his human a lot.
With Jack and I, it was weird because we met, the first time we met, we ended up staying down here until, 1 a.m.?
It was late. It was 1 or 2. Yeah.
And my shift started,
I don't live out here either. I live 45 minutes away from here.
You had to drive.
I had to drive home to Eureka, which you talk about Hoosiers.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's full of them, for sure.
But I don't even remember what we talked about. But we just talked for hours down here.
That's awesome.
You mentioned, we started Hoosiers. What's the difference between a Hoosier and a redneck, in your opinion?
Nothing. In my opinion, nothing.
Nothing? The same thing?
It's the same. It's intertwined. So hillbilly, redneck, and Hoosier are all interconnected for me. I can use them interchangeably. I say Hoosier a lot because in Columbia, Illinois, where I was raised, they kind of bestowed that term onto me. And it's a derogatory term, but I feel like I'm kind of a Hoosier, so I can say it. It's one of those types of things. I'm definitely not a hillbilly. I guess there's stages. I don't think I'm a hillbilly. I'm definitely a part Hoosier. A redneck, I'm definitely not a redneck. So I don't know. I guess Hoosier is like the classiest of the...
I feel like it's a pyramid. That redneck...
Well, hillbilly's at the top.
Yeah. That's like ultimate goal is hillbilly.
Hillbilly, then redneck, then Hoosier. I heard
there you go.
Somebody told me once that Hoosiers have more cars in their front yard.
Okay, well that's a good
they have
testament to maybe
more random junk in their yard.
I've seen a lot of that.
I feel like a hillbilly doesn't have many teeth. that would be like my judgment, my my derogatory judgment, I guess.
Yes, less teeth. That's good. Somebody said that
Hoosiers have all their teeth and hillbillies don't.
Yeah.
Think about
meth is involved usually is one of them.
Yeah,
could be all of them.
Yeah.
We don't judge.
We don't judge.
When you were talking about prepping for the shows, like when you were with U-Man and now with Riz, what does that look like when you go into prepping a show? What do you look for? I know you're looking for news stories and that kind of stuff, but what mainly goes into it?
It looks like this. I'll show you guys. So this is a Monday packet, and I mean,
holy cow!
This is it. So
that's an
I keep
excessive
these.
Amount of paper.
It is. It's so wasteful. That's Scott Rizzuto. I'm going to blame him for under the bus. So actually, I have a Monday through Friday of a week ago. I kept the whole packet from each day because one day I'm hoping that I can host the show like when Riz is out. And so again, I've been observing and studying his process, and I like to have a little template to see like how that week went. So I could go like, ooh, this type of story is an interesting one or whatever. Essentially what we do is we get here in the morning, Riz obviously gets here first, and he'll just start reading. I mean, he reads a lot. And I really think he has a very impressive brain because he retains information really well. And then he is very curious. And so that's the perfect combination of an interesting person, somebody who can retain facts and stay curious. And so what he does is he'll get up in the morning, he'll come here, He'll start reading the news, the headlines over the last 24 hours. He'll get himself situated with his thought process on that. And then he'll start pulling things that he'll make copies of for each of us. So each of us get one of those packets. It's like 100 pages long. And he always hands it to us. None of us read it because, or I guess I should say, I don't read it because I like being, he's leading the show. So he needs to know all the details. My job on the show, all of our job on the show is to ask questions and be curious and interested. And I think he can kind of tell just based on how we approach a subject, who's interested, like if something is horoscope based, I'm going to be real interested in it because that's like my jam, whereas the guys probably their eyes will roll in the back of their head and they won't be as interested.
That's kind of where I'm at when it comes to horoscopes is like, oh, geez.
Sure. And see, when they start talking about sports and batting averages, my eyes roll in the back of my head. I actually pass away. I actually die whenever the sports starts talking. So, yeah, and so that's kind of how he's the pollen of the show flower, if you want to look at it that way, where he has to know all the info and know where the show is going or it could go. And then our job is to populate the little holes in the show where his brain needs us. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, how it all happens. And I get here at, a little bit before 5 a.m. and I will start doing, it's so stupid early. And I'll go through and start reading headlines about celebrities and like what's the hot goss, that the young people are possibly interested in hearing about. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the stuff I really don't care about. Like I will read it and just find something to convey the point of the story. But I've never really been one for tabloids and all that. I like new music news. I like, movie news. I like good news, honestly, about people, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's hard to find sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Is King Scott always like he is on air? Is that just...
Yeah.
He's always like that?
Yeah, that's who he is. He's really goofy, and he's so pure, and, or as Riz will say, he's such a sweet boy. And
a 45-year-old sweet boy.
Yeah.
He is. He's a 45-year-old sweet boy. No, he's great. He's like, he really is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. He just is so genuinely good. And it's his presence is warm. He's kind. He's got terrible dad jokes. But that's him. It's not a gimmick. That's who he is. And he's, I think he's just so in tune with his faith and he loves his family so much. I mean, that's just who he is. Yeah.
I met him once, and it was at the Glory Pro show a couple years ago, the first December to November. And I shook his hand, went to shake his hand, and he gave me his left hand. And I was like, why? And he said, my arm is weird. That's all he said, was his arm was weird. And it turned out he had a dislocated shoulder. But
nice.
had he said that, I would not have been so confused. He's like, yeah, my arm's weird. It's like, okay.
What a total weirdo. But that's him.
He seems like he'd be fun to just hang out with for a while and just pick his brain. Because I wonder what goes on in his brain, some of the stuff he says on air sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he is...
In a good way, all in all.
He's always... Yeah, he's trying to find the joke always. And my biggest complaint with him is I wish he would be more serious sometimes because he does have such an interesting outlook on things that I think a lot of people that, like, I can get exhausted from, like, joke exhaustion. Like, if people are being overly funny and everything's a punchline and everything's whatever, that annoys me. And so I like to have I love an in-depth conversation. And so sometimes I just want to know what's up with him and, like, where does his opinion or his darkness lie? Like, what's his hard take on, an array of topics? I think that'd be fun to know. I
don't think I've ever actually heard him be serious on air.
I don't think I have.
He's always looking for the goofy joke, which is great. I'm all for the goofy jokes. I can take joke all day long. I like the jokes. But yeah, I don't think I've ever heard him be serious.
I think you're the King Scott of this podcast.
Absolutely, I am.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's not up for... I'm a mix. I think of Riz and Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Both the Scotts. Because I'm the host.
Who are you, Emily? Who would you be on this show?
Her, probably.
I'm Lern?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the music takes, yeah.
Oh, true.
Huh?
She's very into hard rock and all that stuff. Goes to an excessive amount of concerts.
Yeah, I'm not even going to open my wallet on my phone because it looks like an addiction.
She goes to concerts every other week, and I've been to 0. I've never been to a concert. So that's changing now.
Oh, my God, Emily, you have to take Jack to a concert.
I am.
We're going to Green Day.
You are? Oh, yeah. I think you told me that last time.
I don't think I had bought the tickets yet. I think I was thinking about it, but I hadn't bought them. But, yeah, I got convinced. Her and her boyfriend and my buddy that used to be on the show, we're going to go. I'm excited about it.
You're going to like it.
Oh, yeah. And I think I'm also going to see Uncle Cracker at the Washington Fair.
I'm not going to that one.
I don't know why, but that sounds like fun.
I've spent probably
it's $10. That's like
I've
free
spent
for
over
a concert.
$1,000 on concerts.
$10 for a concert is like free, isn't it? That's basically free.
It's expensive to go.
Yeah, I think Green Day was $80.
Dang.
For lawn seats.
Yeah, you need to, Emily, you should get a job at a concert venue part-time so you can go to shows.
I know. I thought about that.
I'm surprised you didn't do that. Like Live Nation or
I thought
the amphitheater.
about it.
You live 10 minutes from the amphitheater.
Okay, don't roast me right now. I'm doing IT for a school district. I can focus on the
all right, that's
next
fair.
Summer. I'll do Hollywood Casino.
The sad part is I work 2 doors over from the factory.
You need to go. That's one of my favorite venues right now.
I've been there. Not for music, though.
Oh, you've been inside of it?
I saw 2 of the... I saw Sal and Joe from the Impractical Jokers there.
Oh, well, that kind of counts as a concert then.
I was thinking music as a concert. But I mean, yeah, I've seen a couple stand-up comedians, but...
Okay. Then that counts. It's essentially the same, only it's louder.
A lot louder.
True.
And you can talk and stuff and have, be loud. Comedy, you sit there.
Next time I'm up there, I'll come visit you.
If I'm there, I'm not at work very often.
I get in line early.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm usually... My parents are going to hate this. They don't like me being in the pit. But that's usually where my friends buy tickets. So...
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I was 3rd row at Point Fest this year during New Year's Day. So I was helping people get over the barricade crowd surfing.
That was such a great show. I love Ash Costello.
I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of any of those bands that were at Point Fest this year.
You've never heard Bad Omens?
No.
I'm doing Education. Education with Jack.
You
need to make Jack a mix.
You asked me last time, how am I a radio DJ with as little as I know about music?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know you like sports, right? That's where you love the most. So you don't have to love music to be a communicator. I mean, it helps if you're on a music station, but
it's solely a music station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They barely let me talk.
Well,
I'm going to go through my playlist one day and just show you the crazy shit I listen to.
Awesome.
When you're in the car, do you listen to music or podcast?
I listen to both. Actually, what I do is do you know what Marco Polo is? You guys know that app?
No.
So Marco Polo is a video messaging app where you essentially can record yourself talking to somebody and then they get it and then they can respond.
Yeah.
And so my best friend and I, we've literally talked twice a day, every day for 4 years. And so what I do normally, and this is illegal, I guess, in Missouri now, but I will play her. I don't watch the video because it's usually just her driving, but I will play her video and then I'll listen to her, what she had to tell me about her day. And then I will put it on my dash and record myself. And I talk to myself on my way home for 10 minutes, telling her what's up with me. And then it takes me 20 minutes to get home. So for the last 10 minutes, I'll either catch up on a podcast or if I'm not in the mood to hear somebody else's voice, I'll listen to some music. But I love podcasts. I love listening to podcasts a lot. I'll go walk and I'll listen to podcasts. But I love to dance. And so obviously I do that to music. So I have a pretty 50-50 line with podcasts and music that I listen to.
What's your favorite podcast?
I really love Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert. I love him.
Who's that? Dax Shepard? The actor?
Dax Shepard, yeah. I love his chemistry with Monica Padman. They always have really interesting people on. I love Kristen Bell and Dax's marriage. I love them. It's not necessarily about who they're interviewing. It's how they do the interview that I'm always very intrigued by. I also listen to like Smartless, which is Will Arnett and Jason Bateman. I love interviews. I don't do a lot of like storytelling podcasts. I mainly do interviews with musicians and celebrities and psychologists and stuff. Like I love connecting with people through conversation. And so that's the main way of podcast listening that I do.
Okay. I usually listen to your show or one called Insight with Chris Van Vliet. It's a lot of pro wrestling stuff on there. He's like one of the goals to get on the show. I interviewed him once. He's like the #1 wrestling podcast. And I interviewed him once before, right before he blew up, before I had any kind of like platform to record or anything.
Yeah.
But he's the goal to have on this show one day.
I hope you do it.
I hope so. He did it once before, so what's one more, right?
Do it again.
So we got a couple games we want to play with you. We're gonna start with we're gonna give you 5 bands and have you blind rank them. This is her segment, so I'll let her take over.
Yeah, I got it.
What is it? I rank them like 1 through 5.
Yeah, we're gonna give you 5 of them, and you're not gonna know who's coming next. These are all bands at least I know, and if I know them, you probably know them.
Okay, Fleetwood Mac.
So like out of 1 through 5, I'm going to rank them.
Yeah, and then you'll have whatever your list is at the end. You can change it around at the end if you want to.
Okay, hang on. So I'm going to write these down so I don't mess. Oops, sorry. Let's see. So Fleetwood Mac, okay.
Where would you rank that one?
Out of my top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here, give me all the bands and I'll tell you the rank.
So you
give me the 5.
That's the fun part is you find out one at a time where to put them.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I mean, they're up there. I mean, they're like number 2, I'm going to say.
Okay. That's that one.
Next, we have Queen.
Queen's number 5 for me.
Really? Not a Queen fan?
No, I'm a Queen fan, but they're not my fave. Like, I just don't. Like, Fleetwood Mac to me is everything. Queen is like something, but not everything to me.
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix.
I love Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, okay. I'll put him behind Fleetwood Mac, number 3.
So we got 1 and 4 left?
Yeah.
All right.
Van Halen.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm going to put Van Halen at number 4.
Okay.
Then we have Journey.
Oh, God. Okay, so now I'm going to change everything around, right?
I didn't think Journey was your number 1 favorite band.
I thought Van Halen.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
so here we go.
Put Van Halen at 1.
No. So here we go. I'm going to do Fleetwood Mac at number 1. Fleetwood Mac. I'm going to do Jimmy at number 2. I'm going to put Van Halen number 3. I'm going to put... Oh, God. Well, I'm going to put Queen at number 4 and then Journey at number 5.
Okay. Not a Journey fan.
Journey's a weird one for me because Journey had a career before Steve Perry joined the group. So all the Journey that like we know, like Don't Stop Believin', Separate Ways, that's all Steve Perry vocals on Journey. But if you go back to the 70s with Journey, there were people from the band Santana, I believe Greg Raleigh. I don't remember who was singing for Journey back then, but it sounds completely different than the Journey we all know. If you listen to early Journey, and it's much more, I like early Journey more than I like the later Journey. So, it was more insightful.
I didn't know there was a difference.
You didn't know that?
No. I don't know much about music.
I'm having an education lesson with you now.
Yeah, I really don't know much about music at all. That's
okay. That's all right. I will teach you.
There's another game. Can I say it?
Yeah.
Another game. I decided. I'm going to give you 2 band members from each band, and you got to tell me what the name of the band is.
Okay.
And this isn't like the most known person, too. At least to me, I've never heard of. I've heard of a few of these people.
I told him some of them are easy.
Yeah, she got most of them. So the first one I got for you is Trey Cool and Mike Dirt.
That's Green Day.
It is.
I'm going to keep my points. I'm going to see how many I get right.
I think you'll get most of these. You might miss one. 'Cause I don't know if you know this band or not, but if you do, you'll get it. The next one is Pat Smear and Josh Freese.
Well, that is the Foo Fighters right now.
It is. How about Duff McKagan and Izzy Stradlin?
Guns N' Roses.
Got it. 3 for 3. Here's the hard one. PJ Farley and Rich Ward.
You said PJ Farley?
Yes, and Rich Ward.
Rich Ward. Oh, my. PJ Farley and Rich Ward. PJ. Do I know any PJs or Rich? Ooh, this might be a band that I'm not very familiar with. Who is it?
Fozzy.
Fozzy?
Yeah, it's Chris Jericho's band.
Chris Jericho's band, of course. Yeah,
I didn't get
anybody
that
else
one
in
either.
Do you know them at all?
I know of Fozzy. I never listened to him, though.
Okay. I only know like 2 songs. I just like Chris Jericho. So I had to throw that one in there. All right, the next one is Dave Koenig and Mark Stomer. I think I said that right.
Dave Koenig. What was the last name?
Mark Stomer, I think is how you say it. Stomer.
How do you spell it?
Stoermer.
Ooh. Koenig. No, I don't know this one either. Who is this?
The Killers.
The Killers. Not a Killers fan.
Okay. I only know Mr. Brightside, so
yeah.
I don't know
too.
a lot of songs by a lot of people. And then you'll probably get this one. Johnny Van Zant and Ricky Medlock.
Yeah, that's Leonard Skinner.
You got it. You did pretty good. You did better than I did.
Fun. Well, I like that game. I might adopt that game for the Riz show. That's fun. I like that.
I go to a trivia night every Wednesday, and I stole that one from a guy that I don't like, so I took his game.
Cool.
You stole that?
That game? Yeah, I absolutely.
I didn't know that.
I absolutely stole that game from a trivia question. I don't like the guy that did the trivia, so I took his questions. I made up my own questions,
all right.
and he did. Yeah. He did just first names, and I was like, that's way too hard.
That is hard. Oh my God, I wouldn't be able to do that. That's crazy.
I got one. I got the Green Day one because Billy Joe. That was.
Yeah, that's pretty good one. God, you're gonna love that Green Day show. I'm excited for you.
I'm really excited for it. I really only know like 5 or 6 songs, but the songs I know I like a lot.
Well,
you'll hear all the songs you know.
Yeah,
I hope so. If they don't play those songs, there's a problem.
I think they might be doing albums in full.
Okay, as long as they play the American Idiot album, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Emily. I think they're playing Dookie in its entirety right now.
Okay.
Because it's the anniversary. I think that came out in '94, and I think they're playing the 30th anniversary of that.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Green Day. I didn't know Green Day was that old.
Yeah.
That's not old.
I didn't know it was 30 years old. I don't.
I'm offended for you.
The Zoom is saying the call's going to end in a second. Can you hop back on in like 10 seconds?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome.
Uh-huh.
All right, we'll get that fixed. All right.
Okay, there we go.
I'm not paying for Zoom Premium. It's not.
I don't blame you at all.
I don't use Zoom hardly ever, so when I do, I'm not paying $50 to keep the thing going for 30 seconds when I can just do that. I don't know why they charge for that, but they do. Got to make money, I guess.
It used to not be like that.
Yeah, it used to be like $5.
I didn't even know there was a premium version.
Do you guys use Zoom much on the Riz Show?
Yeah, we do. Well, not on the Riz Show, but like at the radio stations, we do. We Zoom with artists, and we do pay for it because it will just automatically record the call for you. And so, like when we put our video interviews together through Zoom, it's just easier for us to do it that way.
Okay. When you guys do over the phone interviews, how do you have people call in? Is it a video call? Is it just like a regular phone call?
Yeah, it's just a regular phone call usually.
Okay. We've been using FaceTime usually if I know the person. But if I don't know the person, it's usually Zoom. The people aren't usually likely to give out their real phone number right away.
I know. I understand. I'm like that. I don't ever give my phone number away. I give my email away, and I feel like that's the perfect amount of communication because then you can kind of, it doesn't have to be everybody. I'm like very guarded about my phone number. Actually, it's like a weird thing about me.
Yeah, I'd imagine you get a lot of weird messages from people being in
sometimes,
spotlight.
Yeah. Sometimes.
I remember when you guys used, I guess it was a little before you got there, they used to play Real or Fake before that game got canceled. That was the best game. That was my favorite one with the punishments. And
I know. We're trying to bring those punishments back. It's hard because we're trying to figure out what we could play weekly where we can rack up points. Because people want to see us do dumb stuff. So that's happening eventually. We just haven't figured it out yet.
Okay. Those punishments were great. Patrico having to give his phone number out on air was one of my favorites.
Oh my God, that's my worst nightmare. I hope to never do that.
That was, and I think he had to respond to every one of them.
Oh my God, that's my personal hell. No thanks.
I think Moon had to touch every seat in the Skytrade Center.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then he had to grow the beard, and couldn't shave for his daughter's wedding. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was
because he was Jumanji. That was hilarious.
And the Spider-Man suit at the same time.
I know. God, he looked ridiculous. Not being on the show at that time and not, I could never listen because I was always on mornings. You just never knew what they were going to walk in with, So like one day Moon would just be in a Spider-Man costume and then he'd, or Riz would have a really bad spray tan you would just come in and you have no clue what's happened on the show. And then it would just be them looking obnoxious.
It's pretty. Some of the stuff they came up with is pretty good.
I agree.
I think Burton had to clean the side of the highway one time.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
That happened?
Yeah.
I thought that did. He got mentioned on Bert Kreischer's podcast a couple months ago.
He did?
Ian Bagg mentioned him.
No way.
Yeah, I was listening to it. It popped up somewhere. And Jeff's daughter might have posted it. I can't remember. Because I went to high school with her. She might have posted it or I saw it somewhere. But Ian Bagg went on there and he was talking about getting your health checked out because of Burton.
No, I didn't hear that. That's excellent. Bert Kreischer, I think, is in town Friday.
Is he?
I think so, yeah, at Helium. He's playing like a really small show.
I'm sure that's sold out. Man, I was going to say, I need to go to that.
Yeah, I was too.
He's my favorite.
Yeah.
Cam Patterson was at Helium the other night. He's probably my favorite comedian, and I didn't know about it until Sunday morning. You know what I'm talking about?
Right on.
Cam Patterson.
No, I don't know who that is.
Do you know Tony Hinchcliffe?
No.
You got the Kill Tony show? He's on that show a lot.
He was on the Tom Brady roast.
Did you watch that?
I did, yeah.
He was on that show. The guy whose show Cam's on was on that one. He had one of the better sets on there. That was pretty good. If you watch that, the Tom Brady roast was hilarious.
I loved it.
I don't think we talked about it.
It was great. Nikki Glaser killed it. I thought she was the funniest one. And I love Kevin Hart.
Awesome.
She was my favorite of the whole night.
Nikki's stand-up isn't my favorite, but I like Nikki when she's on your show and stuff. That's about all I know of her is her stand-up. But her roasts are hilarious.
Yeah, she's fearless. I love her.
She told Blake Griffin he looked like a printer that ran out of ink.
That's awesome.
That was my favorite one.
That was pretty good.
I couldn't fall asleep, and I was just going through like the best Comedy Central roasts. Everything was all Nikki Glaser.
She's hilarious.
She is excellent. She's always here at the station because she dates a co-worker of mine who is on the Courtney show.
Really?
You didn't know that?
Yeah, so Nikki...
No, I didn't.
Nikki will just be here with like no makeup and normally she's all glammed out when you see her on TV and shows. And so she comes in and she looks as haggard as we do, and I appreciate that.
She's another one I'd love to interview one day. And I think she's more possible than some of my other high up goals because I think she lives in like Creve Coeur.
Yeah, she lives in the area.
Mm-hmm. Not far from here. We're in St. Charles right now.
Yeah.
15 minutes, 20 minutes away. I talked to somebody that told me she's not that hard to book for interviews. So that's another one I feel like we could do sooner than later. In the next year, that's our goal.
Your job.
Yeah, I know.
come up with the games.
Yeah, I know. My job is to book people. I need to get better at that because I haven't booked people. You're the only one I have booked for a while. So
fun.
I need to book more people. We've had some.
Well, two for the stars.
What?
I said two for the stars. I mean, make a list of the people you want, and then it's all about networking and tracking people down. And most people, I would say, are down to talk to you guys because you're still in college, and that's like it's looked at as like a philanthropic adventure. Like when you're my age and you have a podcast, a philanthropic adventure, and when you become in your 30s, late 30s, and you have your own podcast, nobody wants to talk to you because they're annoyed with you. But you guys are students, and so you have an edge on everybody else because they're like, yeah, let's help these students out. with getting what they want. They're good people. You know, if I tried to be like, hey, let's have so-and-so on the podcast, they'd be like, you know, no.
Or they'd make you pay them or something.
Right. Exactly.
That's the other issue is I have no money to pay people. So I'm not.
I don't either.
I'm not paying anybody any gas to come on here.
That's implied. You guys are in school. That's implied.
When you guys book people on Riz and stuff, do they get paid for that, or does the station take care of all that?
No, they don't pay. So essentially, if the station is supporting a band, you know, like let's say Point Fest, it's kind of a written agreement that, okay, we're going to put this festival on and, you know, Avatar, we're going to have a representative from Avatar come get interviewed. It's kind of the handshake that the band gets paid to play Point Fest and makes a ton of money, and the fans are happy, and then the station makes money on the tickets that are sold, and then we also get material for content through the interviews. So it's kind of this business relationship where it's like, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours type of exchange.
Okay. You guys have a lot bigger platform than we do. So one day we'll get there, hopefully. But
you will.
I do have a question about interviews. Do you have one specific interview that was your all-time favorite?
Yeah, I really love, I think I talked about this on the other podcast with Jack. I really enjoyed talking to Roger Waters of Pink Floyd because he was very interesting, and he's a great guest because he's going to tell you what he thinks. He's not going to be coy about his answers. He's a very divisive person, depending on your thoughts on his politics and his worldviews. But I really enjoyed talking to him because he was a nice guest, but he was very honest, and obviously part of this prolific band that I've loved. You know, so that to me was one of my top favorite interviews I did. It was over the phone too, which phone interviews aren't as fun because, you know, being in person is the best because the energy is level. Whereas when you're on a screen or on a phone, you are still kind of protected and the nerves aren't as like raw as they are when you are actually in the same room with people and like reading their vibe and like their energy and stuff. So, my favorite interview that I've ever done in front, like an actual person, God, I got to interview Robert Trujillo of Metallica last year, and he was just so great. And he was intimidating, but also easy to talk to. So his energy, I thought, was a good balance for mine, and he was kind to me in a way that and that interview got so many hundreds, or not hundreds, but so many tens of thousands of views because it got picked up by all the music outlets like Blabbermouth and whatnot. And so that was really cool. And for the most part, the feedback from strangers was like, wow, it was a great interview. So I felt like, oh, this is one of my best. So yeah, I'd say he was my next favorite interview.
I remember you guys talking about that for like 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it because you didn't know who you were going to get to interview. Mm-hmm. You found out day of, I think.
Yeah.
I remember you were really excited about that one. So I thought you were going to mention that one, but I wasn't totally sure which one you were going to go with.
And Metallica? Yeah. That was just a huge event.
Yeah, it was.
It was 2 days, basically a whole weekend, technically.
Because they had some kind of like thing on Saturday too.
Yeah, it was like a book signing, I think.
Okay.
But I went to both nights of that concert. I felt like death.
Monday morning?
Yeah, I was suffering.
You didn't go to class on that Monday?
Yeah.
Actually, no, I skipped class. My parents are going to listen to this, so they're not going to be happy about that, but I don't care.
That's fun. Well, you got to do that sometime, not to make your parents mad, but you got to see these bands, and you have to have those raging weekends like that. You know, I'm proud of you for doing that, Emily. I think you only get so many opportunities to see bands you love, and time is fleeting. So, yeah, if you got to sleep in and miss a class, I think you'll be okay.
That 10 a.m. was
tell
not...
your parents. Tell your parents to email me if they have problems.
Yeah. that 10 a.m. class, it's
not happening.
I turned the alarm off when I got back.
The only time I didn't skip class, it wasn't a concert, but it was a pro wrestling show last month, AEW. I got to meet the owner of the company, and I didn't get home until like 2 o'clock in the morning. There was no way I was going to a 9 a.m. class.
Yeah,
but
I hear you.
You only get to meet the owner the guy's dad owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not going to miss that chance to meet him.
Yeah, that's great. You have to take those chances. That's what life's all about. You can get wrapped up in the daily grind, which is good because that'll make you keep your job or your credits or whatever. But when you have an opportunity like that where it's a once in a lifetime moment, seize that opportunity because you never know. Like that, meeting that guy could be an opportunity for you getting a job one day. It could be just a memory that your life is more interesting because of. So I'm here for it.
I got to ask him a question in a press conference, and the live stream had 130,000 people watching it.
Holy crow, that's awesome.
So it did, and I think it was that last time I looked, it was like 230,000 views. Not my video. My video got like 300 views, but better than nothing.
Close enough.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's the best video we have on the Instagram account.
Oh,
It's me talking to Tony Khan. Not by much, but it's... Yeah, our social media pages, they don't get many views. We post like decent videos too, and they don't get any views. It could be because we don't know how to work TikTok, but like...
Yeah.
Me too. I don't know how to work any of that stuff.
Our TikToks, like we put a good video up. Like I edited it and I put captions on it and everything. I spent a lot of time on it. Spent like almost 2 hours working on it. It got 4 views. I put it on Instagram and it got 400. So I was like, I don't know.
It did?
Yeah.
I need to check social media. I don't do that.
Yeah, you're supposed to be the one that runs the social media.
I'm basically not majoring, but like kind of.
You're minoring in social media.
In marketing, so I guess I got work on that.
And you guys have at the point, you guys have video people that do all that stuff for you guys. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, our more well-produced videos we have editors for, but like the day-to-day stuff, one of us will usually spearhead that content. I really don't like social media. Like I don't ever really think of it, and it's not good because I feel like the marketing aspects of the world, they want you to have an interest in it. And I like doing my own social media because that's me. That's just an extension of who I am. But when it comes to a show and having to encapsulate 5 different personalities into one Rizzuto Instagram, it can be kind of difficult, so we all try to contribute to make it a little easier.
I'm like social media. I don't ever post anything other than listen to my podcast, listen to me on the radio. If you look through my Facebook page, it's all listen to this. It's all I ever post. I don't take pictures hardly ever. I don't post memes. I don't do anything like that. I don't repost stuff. It's either podcast or some kind of pro wrestling thing that I watched. And that's a rare occasion that I post something like that. Or it's I met somebody. I'm definitely
more visual. I like posting photos about my life and my cats and my concert going and my family. And I mean, I really do. It's a nice little, and it's a time capsule. I've always looked at social media, like my personal Facebook and stuff. It's mainly photos of my life. I've always loved photos. Like even before digital photos were a thing, I would go get my film developed at Walgreens and stuff. And like, I have so many photos of my life, and that is the most important part of my, like, tangible, weird little things. Photos are my thing. Like when I got married, I decided I was like, we're going to splurge on the wedding photographer because I wanted to have every little moment captured. And I take great value in the photos that I have on my phone. Like I just love it. It's my life, So Jack, you need to be taking more photos of your life. So one day when you're like 80, you'll look back and you'll go, oh my God, I did that. Or look at how handsome I am, or whatever you think of yourself, and you'd have a little time capsule of your life. I
think the last time I was looking through my camera roll, and the last picture I took of anything was over a month ago, and I was hammered.
That's fine.
The majority of the pictures I have of me, I'm shit-faced in. Like, I am stupid drunk. And I don't drink all that much, so.
Yeah.
But,
well, I have plenty of those photos from college of myself, too. And trust me, I'm 39. I go back and look at my college photos and wish I was back in college so badly sometimes because it was such a blast. So one day you'll be my age and you'll look back at your drunk self and go, I remember him.
I don't do anything too crazy when I get drunk. I just start telling everybody I love them and start hugging everybody. Which one day is going to get me hit because I'm going to hug the wrong person. But
it could be worse,
it might.
though.
Yeah, I could be doing a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
Hugging people is not a bad thing.
That's true.
You guys talk about, since I mentioned that, Riz is your drinking buddy at work events. Is that what I've heard on the show? Because the other 2 guys don't drink?
Yeah, we both like to drink. I don't drink too often, but on the weekends I do. And yeah, he and I, we like the same things. We like martinis. We like tequila. We like whiskey. You know, he's a fun guy. He's a fun person to have a martini with.
I would imagine
Friday.
both you guys would be fun to hang out with, drinking, getting drunk. You guys both have big personalities. I can imagine that's a fun night.
It is. He's grouchier than I am. I'm kind of goofy and flighty and stuff, and a little too nuts. But yeah, I tone myself down for him every now and I don't want to aggravate him, so I keep myself in check. But no, Party Riz is fun. When the curls come out and the hair is all done, look out, people. He's a party animal. He's great.
I bet he is. It sounds like it, especially with tequila involved.
Yeah.
I wish I liked tequila, but I don't.
One day.
Yeah, one day. I know what it'll do to me, so I know better than to drink it. What's your favorite brand of tequila?
I love Patron. I'm kind of a simple Sally about that. I love Patron Blanco with lime. That's what I drink.
Anything's better than the cheap crap they have at bars. You know, like the house stuff.
Rail.
The rail, it's awful. It's that bottle.
It is awful.
It's so bad. Me and my buddy one night we were singing karaoke. We did the tequila song, and he bought me a shot of tequila. And he said, "I want the cheapest stuff." I was like, "I'm not drinking that. You can buy that all you want. I'm not drinking that because it tastes like metal."
Yeah, it's gross. It's a rite of passage though to drink all that nasty stuff.
So I didn't drink until I was 21. So I didn't in high school. I wasn't drinking beer and all this stuff. So I'm real picky on what I like because I can buy what I like and not have to drink what's there. So I'm real picky about. I don't like beer. I don't like a lot of things. I like 4 things.
Good. That's normal. Most people, your personality extends with what you consume. So, just how we all eat differently and like different flavors. I mean, that goes into the alcohol realm. I love a tequila, but my husband's a whiskey guy. So. And for the longest time, I wasn't into whiskey because I actually get kind of mean on whiskey, like that whole thing. I get kind of mouthy, but now I don't know what's happened. But when my band plays, I'll sip on whiskey to keep my throat kind of warm, and I really enjoy it. So I think I was just maybe consuming the whiskey too fast.
That's possible.
And now when I sip it, I'm good.
I really like Long Island's.
Oh, yeah.
And then I end up having 6 of them, and then I don't know where my knees went, and then it's a...
Yeah. Dude, Long Island iced teas are the devil.
Oh,
and they will... So my bandmates are all way older than me, and my guitarist, Mark, who's retired, I'll never forget our first Christmas party as a band, having just a get-together, and he starts chugging those Long Island iced teas, and the dude got hammered. And it was hilarious because we were trying to play some Led Zeppelin music. And he just was off in his own world. And it was so freaking funny. And so from here on out, and this is a man who's in his late 60s. And he still is slinging back Long Island iced teas, and paying for it the next day. So good luck to you.
Last time I had a bunch of Long Islands, I had to come here to do radio. And the guy that runs the radio station could very clearly tell I was hungover. So he chose that day of all days to mess with me. It's like, why?
Good.
Why you got to do that to me? At least I'm here. I didn't miss it.
Right.
It was rough that day, but I made it.
That's so
good. So we've talked about a lot of concerts. What's your favorite concert you've ever been to?
I would say, God. Going to see Jeff Lynne's ELO, I got to see that twice in Chicago and then in New York. And Jeff Lynne's ELO, Electric Light Orchestra.
Okay.
And it was so really good. Cool. And I waited 35 years or so to see that show. And so I was very excited when he announced the tour. I remember I was scrolling on my phone. I was laying on my couch at home. And the show got announced, Jeff Lynne is going to go on tour for the first time in 30 years or whatever. And I was like, oh. And then I saw Chicago was the closest he was getting. And then I dragged my husband up to Chicago to see it. And I was so amazed. And then John and I had the opportunity to go to New York with Carl, our producer at the time. to go see it at Madison Square Garden. So we saw it again. And then this year, Jeff Lindsay-Ello is coming to the Enterprise Center. And
really?
so I'm seeing him this year. Yes. And it's going to be, again, it's going to be so good because his voice, he was the singer for Electric Light Orchestra all those years ago. And it's almost like his voice has been preserved for time. It was just so cool. And he was in the Traveling Wilburys, which I don't know if you're familiar with that band, but that was a super group with like Bob Dylan and George Harrison of the Beatles and Tom Petty.
What was it called?
And Roy Orbison. What's that?
What was the one with Tom Petty and George Harrison?
It's called the Traveling Wilburys.
I've never heard of it. That sounds really cool.
Look it up. It was like it was kind of like Temple of the Dog, where it was just one album and they were a super group.
Some of the best musicians ever.
I know.
Are you a Tom Petty fan?
I am, very much.
I feel like everybody is. You can't not like Free Falling or
you
Running Down a
can't
Dream.
dislike Tom Petty.
Right.
I know.
On the other end of that, what's the worst concert you've been to?
Huh. Worst concert I've ever been to. Let me think about this. Well, I mean, they're not a bad band, and it's an entire gimmick. This band wants you to have a bad time. I should say that. This band wants you to leave their concerts feeling like worse about yourself. And the band is Guar.
Oh,
have you guys ever heard of Guar?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard. I don't know anything about them, but I've heard they're wild.
They are wild. They're a metal band, and I'm not really into like metal that's like woo, 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 woo. Well, you can't even like understand what they're saying. But Guar had a show. I've seen them a couple of times, and they always spray the crowds down with like fake blood and fake like pig semen and like water, and they just want you to be like grotesque when you leave. And of course, you're supposed to wear white, so you're completely covered with all the crap that they put. They throw like fake urine on you. Like,
Jesus.
It's so gross, but it's so fun at the same time. Like whenever I would go to their shows, this has been like 20 years ago, I was running around with a group of guys who they loved Guar. And so going with them was fun, but I remember leaving feeling so gross that I was like, ugh, like, it wasn't necessarily what I want to be feeling like after I leave a show.
I bet not.
That's one of my dream concerts. My uncle, who also worked in radio, he's seen them probably close to 10 times.
Oh, wow.
It's like one of his favorite bands. And every time I see him, he's like, oh, you should go one time. I'm like, I'll go. I just need someone to go with.
Yeah, get ready. Wear white.
Yep.
One of my friends went, and I saw the pictures, and it sounded about exactly what you said. The picture, it described the picture pretty accurately.
Yeah.
Don't they like sacrifice somebody there too? And
oh yeah, yeah. They sacrificed King Scott one year.
Of all people, they get him. Again, nicest guy.
They're a good band. I love what they do as far as like their fan draw and all that. But yeah, it's not my favorite band to go see just because you're drenched in so many fluids afterwards.
What was the band? I saw something. You got to go on stage with a pretty famous band a couple months ago. And I can't remember who it was, but it was something. You got to, was it Pantera or something?
No, it wouldn't have been Pantera. What do you mean? I was like on stage with them?
Yeah, you get to sing a song with them, and I can't remember who it was.
Oh, El Monstero.
That's it. I don't know where I got Pantera from.
Completely different from Pantera.
Completely different. Yeah, that would have been really cool if I would have been on stage with Pantera. I would have never been allowed. No, I got to be on stage with El Monstero. I used to be in their live show a long time ago, and then they know that I sing, so they're like, why don't you come sing with us? Moon's done it a couple of times too, where he sings Have a Cigar, which is a pretty famous Pink Floyd song. And that was a highlight for me last year. I loved that. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, I can't screw this up. I was afraid I was going to forget the lyrics and mess the whole thing up in front of a sold out pageant. So I'm happy that I didn't.
They're a pretty big band, aren't they? They're pretty.
Oh yeah, they're huge. Yes. So they're a Pink Floyd tribute band. They do like 6 nights at the pageant each December, and then like coming up this summer, they'll do a summer show at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater.
Okay, that's really cool. I knew it was something, and
Yeah.
it popped into my mind. I was like, "What was that?" I knew you got to do something really cool.
Yeah.
And is the Limp Bizkit thing, is that real? One of you guys gets to go up on stage with Limp Bizkit?
Allegedly, I don't know who it's going to be yet, but allegedly we're all fighting for it. I would love to go up and sing with Limp Bizkit if it's a song that I know. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be one of the newer songs that nobody's listened to. So I'm like, I would love to go up there and do Nookie or Rollin'. Oh my God, I would kill it. But I can't. This new song is just terrible. So who knows?
Well, I got tickets to that for $25.
Dang.
I wasn't expecting to like go because I was like, Limp Bizkit, the only band on that lineup I know. But then I saw the $25. I'm like, you know what? Limp Bizkit is coming back.
Where's it at?
Hollywood Casino.
Okay. At least it's not at the Dome.
Oh, you have to go. I think you'll really enjoy it.
I listened to the new album. They've got a few good ones, but I feel like Limp Bizkit, it's kind of like the joke band that's supposed to be kind of bad.
Yeah. The whole tour is called Welcome to Loserville.
Yeah.
Like they are leaning in on being a band of yesteryear. I happened to love Limp Bizkit when I was young. Like I remember having Fred Durst on an alarm clock, a sticker of him on my alarm clock growing up. And I thought he was so hot for whatever reason. And I would like, it was just kind of that new metal scene. Like it was right as like, Limp Bizkit and Korn were kind of coming up together at the same time. And I just loved them. I liked how the music sounded, and I liked Fred Durst and music videos, and Wes Borland was so hot and like creepy. I just loved them. I saw them, I've only seen them the once, and it was at the height of their career in the 90s. And it was at that time, the Enterprise Center was called Scott Trade Center, I think. And,
I still call it Scott Trade.
Do you?
Yeah.
And so I got to see them, and it was such a good show. So I think that I think people are going into it with low expectations, and we're going to get blown away.
I feel like that's kind of the goal of it, is to be like, oh, don't expect much, and then make it look like Woodstock 99 in the lawn.
People still
that might happen.
People still blame Fred Durst for Woodstock 99 going down.
I know. I watched that documentary too.
That was a really good documentary.
It was. It's crazy that it got so dark. It was like this supposed to be this peace, love, fun event, and that like Woodstock 99 was such a disaster.
I think Riz was there, wasn't he, covering it? Because he lived in New York at the time.
I think you're right. I think he was there.
I think I heard him talk about that like once. He didn't get too much into it, but that's something I'd like to hear more about.
I think Riz actually started Woodstock 99, the chaos. I feel like
that's more believable.
Yeah, I would believe that too.
I could see that Riz getting up there causing trouble. As we start to wind down here a little bit, I got one more question for you, and it's about food. St. Louis food. What's your favorite St. Louis food?
Let me think about it. Okay, so I love going to Blueberry Hill and getting a Impossible cheeseburger with this cheddar spread. It's like a spreadable beer cheese. It is so freaking good, and they have just the perfect meal there. Like it's always so pretty when they bring it out, and it's delicious. So that's probably my favorite go-to. Like if I can't think of what to eat, I'll be like, let's just go to Blueberry Hill and get a burger.
I went there once, and I didn't think that place was that great. I was really disappointed with that place.
Why?
I don't know.
Why did you not like it?
We thought it'd be packed. It was a Saturday night, about 9:00. We thought it'd be packed. There was nobody there. There was like 8 people there. The drinks were not good. They were expensive, and my drink was terrible. The burger was all right. It wasn't anything that I hadn't had before. Maybe it was just a bad night I went. I don't know, but it just was not.
You're also a piggy eater.
It was a cheeseburger. You can't mess up a cheeseburger.
You don't like peanut butter.
I don't like peanut butter, but...
You did not get the spreadable cheddar, I bet.
I'm not a huge beer cheese fan.
listen, it doesn't taste like beer cheese, okay? It's cheddar that's like this spongy, soft spread, and it is so good. You need to go back. Listen, you need to go get a burger with the cheddar spread, okay?
Okay.
You need to get the damn, what are they called? They're like the cheese balls, the cheese curds that are deep fried. Okay, this is not going to be a healthy meal. This is going to be a shit show. Then you need to get, Long Island iced tea, whatever. Like, get yourself like a root beer and then
I had a
after
deep
all
Eddie
that,
sweet tea and lemonade that night.
Yeah, don't do any of that. Nobody wants that. Get a root beer, and then at the end, get a piece of gooey butter cake, and then you tell me that's not damn delicious after you're said and done.
The bad thing is...
Go see a show in the basement at the Duck Room. That's the best. Eating upstairs before the concert and then walking into the basement and seeing a little show. Perfection.
I guess there wasn't a band there the night we were there. That was the same night Casey set off a bunch of firecrackers in his truck.
What?
You know those popper firecrackers?
That you throw down?
Yeah.
Like the loud ones, not like the kid ones?
Mm-hmm.
My buddy had him in his truck. It open in his cup holder, and he dropped his water bottle right when we pulled into Del Mar. Del Mar is not the greatest area.
Sure.
He pulls in there. As soon as he pulls in, he dropped his water bottle in the cup holder, and 6 of them went off inside of his brand new truck.
Oh, my God.
I couldn't hear for like 30 seconds. I thought we got shot at.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like we got shot at.
Yeah.
That was my experience.
Well, you handled it well, it sounded like. That's pretty good.
I hit the deck, but, I'm more surprised he didn't crash the truck.
Oh, he was driving?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
my God.
crazy.
He was driving into Del Mar. And it was right at that point,
wow.
Right at the beginning of it, but it's like right next to that real rough area. Where you probably get your car broken into. But it was an interesting night. We ended up leaving. We were in Del Mar for like half an hour. There was nobody there, and we went back to Eureka.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you went.
Yeah, it was just we're not going anytime soon. Maybe I'll try that burger. Bad thing is I just started a diet yesterday.
As a St. Louis and a couple of St. Louisans like yourselves, I feel like your rite of passage is going to see a show at the Duck Room at the bottom of the Blueberry Hill. That's like
we didn't even know there was a basement.
Oh my! Well, yeah. Unless there's a show, you wouldn't know. They don't let you go down there otherwise. But I mean, it really is just like a stairwell down into the bowels, and there's just a little venue down there. Like, I would love to have my band play there one day, just because it's such an iconic room.
What's your band called?
It's called Lane Narrows.
Okay. You guys are a cover band, or you have original music?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're a cover band. We play classic rock.
Okay. Awesome. I'll have to check you guys out sometime. I hear about you. You talk about it all the time, but it's always in times I got to work or it's an hour from my house.
I know. We play in Illinois pretty often.
That's a long way from Eureka.
It is.
Everything is, though. It takes me 40 minutes to get here.
True.
I know. You need to move. Do you live with your parents still?
Yeah, I do.
Where are you thinking of moving to, like after you move out?
I hadn't thought that far ahead.
You need to think about it, Jack.
I know.
I'm already thinking about it. I'm not even.
Where do you want to move?
I won't go to Nashville at some point in my life. I want to move to Tennessee. Just not saying start over sounds depressing, but just kind of like go away on my own for a year or two. And then if I like it that much, I'll just live there full time.
I love that. I hope you do it.
I like where I'm at. I like living in West County.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Jack, you need to spread your wings, pal. You got to live.
Come to Tennessee with me.
Tennessee's expensive.
Go with Emily.
It's expensive.
It is expensive.
We can split rent.
Don't ever stay in. My advice to you is don't ever stay in your town for your whole life. You can always come back to it. No shame in that, but go spread your wings a little bit. Stay in a place that you think, oh, I could never fit in, or I would hate this. Whether that's an apartment or a duplex or a house or living in a part of the city or whatever. Like, it is so.
That's one
you
thing.
learn so much about yourself.
I don't want to live in the city.
Why not?
It's not safe.
You're a country boy. You're from Eureka.
Yeah, you got that. you got the country mentality, which is the thing, but it is safe. I mean, I've lived in the city. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So I've lived in downtown. I've lived down by the TWA Dome. I lived in Maplewood. I lived in the hills, the St. Louis Hills neighborhood. And trust, my house, my car, it all worked out. It was all right. So.
All right. Well, I guess that's a good point. I got some friends that have lived downtown and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, it's not that bad." I was like, I don't know about that. Well, Lord, I want to thank you for coming on today. Can you stay on for like another minute after we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on today. We had a lot of fun. It was awesome. You took your time to do this. Thank you. I know it's the second time I've gotten to interview you, so really cool you did this for us. It was a lot of fun.
Here, you want to say hi to Rafe?
Of course.
Just walked in.
Hi, Rafe.
Hey, Rafe.
Jack and Emily.
Hi, Jack and Emily.
How you doing?
How are you? I'm doing well. You guys got like $3,000 I can borrow?
I wish. I was going to ask you the same thing.
I like to throw that out there when I meet new people. So good to know. Nice to meet you.
You're
Nice to
coming
meet you
in here
too.
talking to kids.
All right. Thank you guys for listening today. It was a great episode. We'll be back next week with another one.